Hey guys, Gabe Suarez here from Suarez Tactics. I want to follow up on something that I presented at the double action pistol class, and it's something that I noted that a lot of the guys in class were doing, and I kind of know where it comes from, and it's like they're there facing their target, and they're getting ready for me to yell fire, and they're like this, you know, and it's like their bodies are tense and primed, and if their eyes were laser beams, they'd be burning a hole in the target. Okay, I know where that comes from. That's actually a something that was developed through massive repetitions at some of the old gun schools that I used to teach, and I don't do that. I don't do that. I haven't done that in years. And I talked about that in class, and some of the guys there thought, "Oh my God, what a revelation!" Okay, and so I want to address it. And this is a concept that what I'm going to tell you is a concept that I've talked about and I've taught, especially in our professional classes where we deal with a lot of counter-terrorist folks and stuff like that. And it's if you have a target, by target I mean a human being that you are going to proactively engage. This is not in circumstances where you're already being attacked, because obviously you're being attacked. You're going to be looking at the person that's attacking you. Not all the times that you draw your pistol and fire is it going to be overt self-defense. Oftentimes, in their cases, and sometimes in the private citizen world, you will have an opportunity, a requirement, I may add, to be proactive. In other words, you're not involved in that fight, but you're choosing to get into that fight and engage an adversary because you have the moral requirement to do so, such as an active shooter, such as a situation where a bad guy is shooting innocent people and so on. It's the type of thing that is so obvious and clear that you don't even have to work really hard to justify it. It is justified on its own merits. Now, again, I'm not going to argue. I know there's people that would watch 50 kids get killed by an active shooter because they're not involved and they're basically a bunch of fucking pussies with guns. That's not for them. I have nothing to say to those people. They're not going to be in my classes anyway. So go hide under the desk while real gunfighters and real Americans go and take out the bad guys. Okay. Now back to the point, and it's got to do with the gaze of the eyes. All right. Now, my background since I was 10 years old has been the study of martial arts. Okay, and in martial arts, the 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 eyes move, the head follows, the body follows. So wherever the eyes go, the head goes. Wherever the head goes, the body follows. So, and you watch this in the natural world. Animals, they will look, they will turn, and they will move. The old phrase, "Where are you headed?" right, comes from that phenomena or that reality. Now, the other factor of it is this. There is a sort of a sixth sense or a level of perception where if you have someone or something looking at you intently, you'll know. And this is something that all of you listening and watching have felt or experienced at one time or another. You'll be in a social setting, a group, and for some reason you turn and there's someone whose eyes are right on you. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's an adversary, but whatever. You've experienced this, and I know I have. And well, I can't explain it. Just because you can't explain it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. All right, this fact of unexplained realities has been known for ages. You'll remember those of you that study such things. Shakespeare, I believe it was Hamlet. Quote, "There are things in heaven and earth, Horatio, not dreamed of in your philosophy." Again, just because we can't explain something with modern science doesn't nullify its existence. Okay, so this issue of being careful where you are gazing. Now, a few years ago, I was teaching a very prolific and high operational tempo group of people, and getting them ready for something they expected to happen. And one of the things I told them is, if you are going to be proactive. You're proactively going to draw your weapon and you're going to engage. Don't sit there and look at them, okay? Look, see them in your peripheral vision. For example, right now I'm looking at the armor that I have set up with my bump helmet and everything else, but through my peripheral vision, I can very much still see the camera, okay? But I'm not intently looking, all right? That sort of thing. Because again, if you intently look at an adversary or a target, that target has the likelihood of being able to sense it, okay? Now, this takes time to develop. So if I'm over here, seeing my adversary in peripheral vision, and I'm at the point where, okay, I'm going to move. So at this point here, my eyes will precede my pistol by, a second or less. All right, but I'm not going to sit there and intently focus on the target. All right, now where does this material come from? Well, all my life I've been studying martial arts, and as a kid, there was no Google, there was no YouTube or stuff like that, so I had to go and search for information wherever it was found. And so I'd go to the newsstand and I would read, all the martial arts magazine, Black Belt, Karate Illustrated, Kung Fu, and so on, and then the bodybuilding magazines, Muscle Builder and Power. I believe there was a magazine put out by Vince Gironda. I forgot what the name of it was. So I looked at those, and I looked at a very, very edgy magazine. It's not what you think, you dirty-minded bastards. It was Soldier of Fortune. Now, whereas Black Belt Magazine and Muscle and Fitness or whatever, those publications were all about bettering yourself, sharpening the blade, so to speak. Soldier of Fortune was about the practical application where the rubber met the road and stuff like that. Now, I remember there was a figure in both the martial arts world and in the Soldier of Fortune world or the military world, a man named Michael Icanis. I later bought all his books. I never met the man. He was assassinated probably by the CIA in Nicaragua. In any case, a lot of very interesting stuff because it was a very, very applicable example of what martial arts could be. It had nothing to do with, seeking perfection of character or all that Dojo Kun kind of stuff. It was more of, hey, we're studying this so we can go kill bad guys, okay? Something that apparently he did very well. And there was an article that I found in a 1980, my God, okay? And it's this guy right here. All right, now I had quite a collection of Black Belt and Soldier of Fortune and all that, but when I started, moving on with life and doing this and doing that, whatever, I had to kind of consolidate things because, too much is too much. And so what I did is I went through all those magazines and I picked out the ones that I thought were important. And, what I would do is I would remove the articles that I thought were important and I filed them and saved them just like this. Okay, this is Circle of Stealth, Icanis' Revolutionary Sentry Removal Techniques. From October of 1980 by a guy named Randy Wanner. I never met Randy, I never met Icanis, but fascinating stuff, okay? And I've got all the material here. And I read in the article, now in 1980, I'm 20 years old, okay? So I'm not a cop, I'm not a SWAT or gang guy, I'm not doing anything except training martial arts and lifting weights. That's what I did. And but it was fascinating where they were writing about how it was important to not look at your adversary as you were approaching, sneaking up on him. Don't look at the back of his head. Don't look at his upper back because he will sense that you're there and eventually turn around and now you have a problem. Okay. And instead they suggested to look at the lower back and the legs. So, okay, look at his ass. All right. Because there are, and they trade this. They experimented with it and everything, and they said that if you refrain from looking at the back of the head and the upper back, the other side, those whom they were experimenting with, didn't get the same sensations. Okay. Now I thought this was very interesting. Didn't really apply to my life and lifestyle and so on, but I was always fascinated by that sort of martial art application. A few years later, I read books by Peter Hathaway Capstick, a very renowned African hunter. He hunted in Africa. He wasn't African, he was American, as far as I know. And he was saying the same thing when he was hunting dangerous game, that he would not look directly at the animal because the animal would sense it. So if, let's say, okay, this is the camera right here, so instead of moving toward the camera and then being intent like this on the big Cape buffalo or other animal that he's moving in on, what he would do is he would avert his gaze. Now he still sees the animal in his peripheral vision, but until the last moment he didn't fix his eyes on that target because his experience, the animal would sense that you were coming. Okay. Now, flash forward a couple of years. Now I'm on SWAT, working gangs and stuff like that. And unlike what we see today in a lot of special units, we did a lot of 1 and 2 man work, and you know, cells of 3 and so on. And we did a lot of slow, very sneaky movement through buildings. We were very, very good at it. And one of the things that I experienced firsthand was if I'm moving into position on a bad guy, okay, and I'm looking at the back of his head, I can't explain why, but for some reason he'll turn to see what that creepy feeling that he has. On the other hand, if I averted my gaze, saw him in peripheral vision and so on, we didn't have that phenomena take place. Again, I don't know why. It's above my pay grade, but I can't deny reality. So what I teach instead, okay, is this. When you're getting ready to draw, first of all, don't stand, you know, like those knuckleheads and all that kind of stuff. You know what you do? Stand like you normally do. Stand with your hands in your pockets. Stand holding, you know, a cup of coffee. If you're on the range, an empty cup or whatever. Stand like a normal dude, okay? Not like a gunfighter who's about to draw, okay? And then if your target's right there, don't look right there. Look at the next target, okay? Look at the ground. Look anywhere except where those bullets are going to go. And then at the final moment, okay? So I'm standing here like this. My target is right there, okay? I'm just standing here like this. At the final moment, okay, on go, I'm drawing, I'm being smooth, and I'm proceeding my pistol with my eyes at the very last moment. And what that does is it will prevent the adversary whom you are trying to get the drop on from realizing what's going to happen to him. Okay, now, recently in a group that we taught in Southern Arizona, they use this very method very successfully. And so, you know, it is, I consider from my own experience, from the experience of my students, that is a combat proven concept. Can I prove it with science? No. But it's something that you should consider, you should think about, especially when you do your own training, your own dry practice and everything else. Don't stand there like the gunfighter, you know, like this, waiting for the buzzer to go off or anything like that. Just stand like a normal dude. Don't look straight at your target, look somewhere else. And then at the last moment, as you're going to pistol, start preceding that pistol with your eyes so that they arrive on target at the exact same time. Okay? It's one of those little tidbits of streetcraft that may save your life.